Hello and welcome to Star Wars Geek Girl. I'm
Whoa.
Zoe, and as usual, I'm here with Lizzy.
Hello.
And we have two very special guests with us today to talk about the finale of Andor. We have Saunders from Steele Wars.
Hey everyone, happy what is it, Black Friday? It's Black Friday for the Empire. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, I'm amped up.
The Empire is getting deals.
No, they got a brick to the face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also have Sal Perales from the Rogue Rebels.
I mean, to be fair, a brick to the face, that's like literal live footage of Black Friday.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, actually.
Boom, Walmart.
That was a visualization of me getting into the turkey yesterday. Just a brick to the face, and so sweet rebellion.
Happy colonizer day to all who celebrate.
Yeah, so I have to start with what's everyone's spoiler-free thoughts on the finale of Andor?
Spoiler free?
That's the start.
Who's listening to this podcast that hasn't watched Andor yet?
I don't know.
Okay.
Hypothetical
Right.
people.
People without Disney Plus.
The
People who are watching the first two episodes on Hulu, FX, ABC, and wherever else.
Okay, well, okay, for you
Watch the
guys,
clips my dad posts on TikTok.
that Marva character gets a lot better. So just stay in there if you've only seen the first two episodes. I wasn't too hot on her at the start. She seemed a bit just whatevers, but those lingering shots pay off in 10 episodes time. Trust me. Stick with it. Spoiler-free review. Stick with it.
What about you, Dad?
This is the most Rebel shit since Rebels.
Yeah.
Thank you. Short to the point. I also don't really have that much spoiler for free thoughts. I just think it was really good, and I am excited for the next season.
Yeah, I think the finale was a great culmination of everyone's character arcs, and very much like was a natural, almost like a natural end to the cycle as far as where we started in Andor, and then we end up in a similar but also different place. So I thought the finale was like a perfect wrap up on the first season, but also left you in a place where the story would continue in season 2. I'm very excited for that.
They did just a stellar job of like culminating everyone together that was logical to be for that on the planet in Ferrix for that parade. You know, it would have been a bit much if Mon Mothma went there to pay her respects as well.
There's a banker on a small planet that might be able to help you.
But yeah, it was like the way they thread those little storylines, even with that guy whose name I don't know. Oh, are we past the spoiler bit yet?
Yeah, we can do
Yeah.
Okay.
Spoilers.
When they like just that guy that he owed money to in the first few episodes that, you know, turned Imperial spy, that ended up getting his just desserts off that that little hand grenade deal, thermal detonator, whatever. Yeah, they just did such an amazing job of like weaving threads, even ones that I didn't even get. Like I like the boy that made the bomb, right? Who was the dad?
The guy that ran the shop that Bix was doing the messages out of.
Yeah. So it was the guy. Yeah, that's who I thought it was. Yeah. So had we seen that kid before in the show?
He was in the first couple episodes, and he's in the background every time they show it. Like every time Bix talks to his dad, he's like in the background. And when they first start doing the like tink 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 tink, like he's the one that's running to tell his dad what's going on. Like, So he's been in the show. Like I don't know. I just like his hoodie. I think that's why I paid
I
extra
always
special
remember
attention
him
to
just
him.
because of the hoodie. I always remember him just because of the hoodie. Yeah, he doesn't really have like many. I don't know if he has any lines. He doesn't have many lines at least throughout the whole show, but he's like a presence. Like,
Yeah, okay. That's and that's to the credit of the show that, you know, I didn't even know he was in the show. Like I was watching that scene and I'm like, who's that? And then he put the hologram on and I'm like, who's that? And but there's so many of those threads and some that you follow, some that you miss. But it's I feel like going back to the start and watching it again and recognizing everyone and how it like feeds in. Like I'm going to pay so much more attention to that guy who Sal knows his name, but I don't. But that he was owed money to. Like all like that's going to be so much more intriguing now. And that was like I think one part of the initial 3 episodes that I feel like I'd initially like it more as if I knew we were sticking with all these characters the whole way through. Like I was under the impression that after the first 3 episodes, you know, we're not seeing these people again, but they're all so crucial. So like the most feared slow burn description, you know, like really paid off. And it made like watching it a second time, it makes more sense that they did linger with all those like Marva and stuff, because like in the end, she turns out to be like queen of the rebellion and just like so good.
Yeah, I like the use that like the show Andor has for just a good amount of their characters. Like it feels like they don't just put random characters to just have random characters. Like you said, a good amount of them have a meaning to them or they do something later on in the show. I always think that's cool.
yeah, and I think it's the credit to the writers because especially like you said, like after watching the whole thing and knowing where it ends up, at least in season 1, it's really like no character and no scene is not like nothing is like time wasted necessarily like within the show. Like the show itself is a complete arc, and obviously we know there's more to come. We know there's a season 2, but I feel like with like Star Wars and like stuff, like I think we sometimes get used to shows not necessarily being as complete. Like they're always like they'll have their thing, but also like they have to tease for the next thing, and like they have to make sure like they leave things unanswered so the next thing you want to watch the next thing. And I think it makes Andor very satisfying that it's like just lays everything out on the plate and it's like we have more for you, but like there's also like this is all here right now too, which was nice.
I think like psychologically it'll make watching the second season so much more enjoyable, because you'll just be like anything that you sort of don't get or what was that about, it's like you've got that trust that like Gilroy's got me, he'll come back to this. Like, and they did it all season. Like there was a bit where you know, it was a bit ambiguous how that prisoner got back into the same prison and everyone found out. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, some people are like, well, they can't just rotate everyone because everyone's going to speak. And then they like, so that was a bit ambiguous. But then in the next episode, there was just dialogue that like crystallized what happened. And like, do you know what I mean? He was getting sent to another prison on another planet, but he mistakenly got put back here. And Kino sort of worked all that out. But yeah, they just like it just feels like everything that was like just driplets where you were like, oh, what's that about? It all came back in such an enriching way. Like the fact that all those side characters on Ferrix like were involved in the finale in such like a profound way. It was like I'm just going to be sitting there in 2 years' time, just going, oh yeah, it's all like do you know what I mean? It's so good to, and that was sort of like the second series of The Mandalorian. Like I could just like go, yeah, these guys have got it. And yeah, I won't like they like now they're on notice after the Book of Boba Fett. I have to say that. So they've got to win my trust back. But Gilroy we trust. He's going to look after me.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think it was also like it wasn't like it didn't necessarily feel forced. Like it felt very natural that like all these characters are here doing their thing. Like it felt like the natural conclusion instead of like, and then like someone shows up and like, and it's like a whole thing when they're just like, oh yeah, like and then this person shows up and it's like a whole like, remember this guy? It's just like it's a very natural conclusion. It's like you really knew from the last episode that these characters were all gonna be there. And it felt like the natural, like everyone's together. It's the finale in the most traditional way, but it felt very like what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, there was a lot of drama in it, and especially in just having everyone there in general that like made it seem like a telenovela where like it was like not random, but it was like Luthen's here. Oh my god, everyone is here. But I thought it was still just well done because there's like you said, is a reason why everyone's there. But it felt very like still surprising and still like really fun to watch. Just everyone there and their responsibility in this.
And why they were there. Like, do you know what I mean? They had different sort of ambitions. And I loved that as soon as Andor saw Luthen, he was like, well, why else would this dude be here than to kill me? Yeah, it was just very it was very plausible, and it all had it just made sense. It was just easy on the temperament.
Yeah, I wanted to point out, I might have said this on both the podcasts, but I know I said it to Dad on the Rogue Rebels podcast. But I was saying how, since everyone was there, I figured that Deidre was going to have everything planned, have everything set up, have everything like perfect, like it was all going to be a good trap. And then Serial comes in and like I figured he was just gonna kind of ruin it all. Like somehow he was just gonna like see Cassie and go for him or something. But I thought it was interesting that Serial did something good for once, like saving her. But
good question mark.
Yeah,
but,
good question mark.
The thing about it is like, yeah, he did something good, but what does he expect out of it? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like he's got this real entitlement.
Yeah, and ambition too.
Which I think a lot of Imperials do in general. Like they don't really do anything to help each other unless it's like something that they can gain from it.
You're right. They use all that like stepping to like get things out of each other. Like the one guy that's like trying to get her in trouble, and then it ends up backfiring on him. And then there's like, well, don't worry, Blevin, she will take over Morlana. And he's like, oh.
And but it makes sense because it's like there's no honor among thieves.
But it's like such a
and they're all bad people. So like, do you know what I mean? Like they're all bad, so they're all going to be treating each other badly.
Even in the first episodes where they're like, is this worth causing inter-office like friction? And it's like, what? Why? Like, why don't we just solve the problem? Aren't we all here for the same reason, to like catch bad guys? If my bad guy went into another sector, why is that like a big deal? Like, what's the matter with you, General Partagaz or whatever you are? Like inter-office friction is a weird thing that I don't understand. In that, in an inspector, whatever they are, like an ISB kind of thing.
It's very much. I kind of put it in my kitchen mindset. Like, why would you backstab and like ruin someone else's like little station in the kitchen when you all have to work together to make the whole day like go smoothly?
The
like
ingredient is over there. Why can't he get it? Why don't you give it to him?
Yeah,
or whatever.
Like, why do, even in school now, like why do certain people think that they're like in the specifically when you're in the kitchen and when you're in classes, like you're supposed to help each other, but there are certain people that think that they're better than you, that they know more than you, that they don't want to help you, and it's a entitlement issue.
Do you want Gordon Ramsay to yell at us? We should work together.
Yeah. But yeah, I we're kind of going like all over, but I was kind of scared for Deidre. Like I was like, yes, get her. But also I was like, oh man, I would be horrified in that situation.
Well, yeah, she just like gets hit with a rock. And then,
She got hit with a rock. She was getting like
It-
pulled apart. Pretty
like
much.
it really, a lot of the stuff reminded me of like the January 6th stuff. Like there's the like cops that would get
Yeah.
pulled over on the other side, and you're like,
It was like when she got like knocked over,
mhm.
like at the start, and it's like, yeah, get yours. And then like a few seconds into, like, oh yeah, this isn't cool then. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it takes all this like this war and this big idea of conflict, and like sometimes it can feel so impersonal. Like you watch Alderaan be destroyed and you're like, oh, that sucks. And then you see like one person get hit with the rock and you're like, yeah, that's right. And then you're like, oh no, like because it's on the like the way that they did the show, the entire like all of the conflicts, you're not above them. And it's like kind of the idea that sprouted from Rogue One. Like when you see the AT-ATs from the ground, or
Oh, man.
the AT-ACTs.
when they come through the bushes, that's so
Yeah.
good.
And it's no longer like this thing that you're watching from outside a distance, like really putting the war in perspective and putting these conflicts like in such a personal way from the characters who are experiencing. I really enjoy that, and like not taking that big step back to see the bigger picture all the time. Like, I mean, just for a frame of reference, we saw the Hosnian Prime system destroyed, and we were like, that's probably not good. You know, and like here we're just like watching, this is one insurrection on one planet, and every person who got shot by a heavy blaster who worked at a store that had a phone call with a guy we know one time, we were very sad about.
But it does make you think about like it's cool to think that this sort of thing's happening all over the place.
Yeah.
Like do you know what I mean? Like the insurrection isn't because of Andor. Like it's not because like the hero's here and he wrote, it's just like everyone here is just people.
Yeah.
And what's the mum's name? I'm just blanking.
Marva.
Marva. I think I said it at the start of the episode and it's already vanished. With these new shows, this is why I get excited every time it's like a cameo, like Cad Bane, because I'm like, I remember that guy's name. It's gonna be no sweat. Like this is ace. Marva, Val, it's a whole thing. What's the other one? Cinta?
Clea
Is that?
Cinta,
Yeah.
Val.
What was I going on about with the names?
Brasso.
Oh yeah, Marva is not like inspired by the Force or any like she's just like a citizen of the village. It was pretty chill, and you know, she started this like village riot. So is this happening on Dantooine or what?
And I like that like the whole Star Wars idea, like the original idea is this like farm boy from out of nowhere can help save the galaxy, but then it turns out he has the Force and he's chosen by destiny and all this stuff. He's not really from nowhere. You know what I mean? And then sort of like you sort of get that again in Force Awakens, how like this person from nowhere gets to like start, but then it's like not exactly the same thing either.
The wounds have not healed.
Rogue One also brought that back. Like these are just people. They don't have special abilities. There's nothing special about them other than their conviction and their like
good looks,
resolution to do what has to be done. And like these are the people on the ground that do the work so that the people that like everybody calls the like, I'm doing air quotes, heroes can be like noticed, and like that all not noticed but like successful, you know. And if you like follow, like I read all, I read all the books and comics. There's a really good comic series. Hey, you should listen to my podcast, bro.
Do you do a podcast?
I do. One of these days I'm gonna ask you on. There's a really cool arc in a comic series. He's giving me bad eyes.
Hey.
And we saw but we had to, what do we have to do?
This is the Grove Report, everyone.
Mm.
Whoever says it.
You need a reservation to see Santa?
Yeah.
Should we get one?
Yeah, but if it's not, if
They're gonna
they
fill
wait
up.
for us, we can go.
Yeah.
And Santa said we can meet Santa, and you wouldn't may walk.
I would take the
like,
kids,
you
but I
and
wouldn't buy
then
the
I
pictures.
was a tiny climber, and it goes.
We
back
have
the house.
only
You
phone
saw
pictures
Slimy?
of the kids with
No,
Santa
he wants to tell Santa.
because I would be like, oh, no, I'm not paying
And then
25 bucks for that.
empty in.
Okay.
And I would take you guys when you guys had like a day off of
Fireworks.
school, and I would take you guys at like 11 because there was no traffic and no line. You're welcome.
Thanks.
You want to wave?
Tiny babies.
Wait, what I was saying, really good comic series in which after A New Hope,
All right,
Luke
I'll just
Skywalker,
I'll be back in 5. Just give us.
do what you got to do, sir.
Thanks, buddy.
Luke Skywalker and Leia
Right.
return to Jeddah. The series is called The Ashes of Jeddah. It's part of the Star Wars series, Star Wars Marvel comic series. And it's like they return to Jeddah. Leia already knows what happened, but Luke doesn't.
All right, can
So
you come
he's
up?
like learning like the people that stole the, like he's learning about Jin and Rogue One and everything from some of the survivors of Jeddah, one of which is Benthic.
Mm.
And like, so he's like having all these moments of like disbelief and like reverence over like, he's like, I didn't like, why did you trust me? Like you gave me an X-Wing. I was trying to go make, like I turned my targeting computer off because I heard a voice in my head. And like, I didn't realize I was carrying the weight of all of these people who had sacrificed everything to put me in a place where I like, everybody calls me the hero and they call me the guy that like made the shot. And I'm like a Jedi of the, but like none of that would have happened without them. And then like a few issues later is when he renames Red Squadron Rogue Squadron. And that's really, really cool. And the name of that arc is called Hope Dies.
Oh,
And that's
yeah.
like really awesome. And it's like Vader trying to crush the rebels and Leia being like, son. But like I like, and like Leia says something to him. He's like, you like, cause he's like going off. He's just like, this is like, why did you guys let me do this? Like, I don't understand. Like, why did you even let me in an X-Wing? You've never like, I showed up on the base and you gave me a like spacecraft. And we're like, oh, here, go save the world. And then I did it and you guys all called me a hero. I didn't realize that all of this happened before. And Leia says something like, we can't blink. Like if anyone had blinked, like the Empire, like if anybody blinked, the Empire would still be here, you know, and we wouldn't. Like basically like we were there and we were in the position to do what we did. Everything that came before us that led us to that point, like because they didn't blink, we have that opportunity. So we can't blink. I just really like all of Leia's stuff is always great.
Mhm.
But little things like that where she carries this like weight of the galaxy, you know, is really, really good.
Hmm.
I like Rogue One. I like Benthic.
Good movie.
Did y'all know Benthic was a cloud rider?
He's in the movie.
Yeah, he used to be a cloud rider. And even in that series, Han's talking to him. He's like, when I first ran into you, you were like a cloud rider. Dude, what happened? Like, what changed? And Benthic is like, I didn't change. The galaxy changed. But it probably sounded like something Fortunta dedicada when Benthic actually said it. But anyway, Benthic is really cool.
I did not know his name was Benthic. I'm gonna be honest. I just had to look it up because I only knew him as two tunes.
There's two of them. There's Benthic and Edrio.
What? That's
There
two
are multiple
tubes?
two tubes. There's
Yeah,
two
I thought they were
tubeses.
all just two tubes.
Well, they are. There's Edrio two tubes and Benthic
Wait,
two tubes.
wait, okay. So when is it Benthic and when is it Edrio?
Edrio is the pilot, and their costumes differ slightly. I think Benthic has the
when-
like coat, and Edrio has like a flak vest because he's a pilot.
Okay, so Benthic is the one in
I think Benthic is
Rogue
always the one we see
and in
usually.
Solo.
Yeah,
Okay. Where's the other guy?
I
Is
think
he in
Edrio's
anything?
there with him sometimes in the background,
Oh, okay.
like at Saw's place in Rogue One
So
and stuff.
like Benthic's the main tutu.
Yeah, Benthic is the one that we usually see talking. And
Okay.
Benthic is the one that survives. And by the way, Saw's people that survive, they call themselves. Oh no, that's a separate little thing. But some of the Saw survivors, they call themselves the Dreamers.
I know. I read that book.
Hey,
That's rad.
and I'm not
We
the only
podcasted about
one.
it.
Spoilers.
Hey, speaking of things I didn't get in the show, I initially, which I like, I love, like the fact that I'm getting outsmarted by Star Wars on the first watch. I'm like, yes, so good. I didn't click that Mon Mothma was just putting out a cover story about the gambling. Like I was buying it. I was like, dude, we know you're gambling. Like she said, so like we don't trust you. When she said, well, someone certainly is. And I'm like, yeah, damn straight. Hear me.
To be fair, we're all like predisposed to hate this fool already. Like,
Yeah, no,
and by the
there's
way,
that-
Perrin, champion of the most likely to be punched Rogue Rebels poll that we put out on Hive. I appreciate everybody taking part in that.
Nice.
Perrin won.
God, that's hate speech. So
That's
trying to
No,
provoke
I will
violence.
say in the first scene, in the scene with them in the car, I was like, yeah, stop gambling, you idiot. Like, what do you mean taking
That
all
was
our
me.
money? Like, I was so, and then in the follow-up scene where the driver, I was like, oh, I get it now. But in the first scene, I was like, yeah, stop it. What's wrong with you?
Yeah,
But-
well played, Mon Mothma. Like she
learning the game.
like you know, like you took like she is the calculated 4D chess person that Elon Musk fans think he is. Do you know what I mean? Like it's Mon Mothma that's like, he's just a
yeah.
goof. She's out there just, that was so sweet.
Right.
Like I was like, oh, she knows she's getting eavesdropped in, even though it's, you know, they got the privacy. And just the fake argument. I once started a fake argument with my wife Jacqueline in an elevator at this hotel. In the elevator to cover for the fact that the cat we were sneaking into the hotel room started meowing.
What?
So we just started a fake argument to like cover the noise because it
I
was
mean,
like,
and what were you just like? No, I don't like it when you do
No.
that.
I was like, I just went, did you ring your mum back? She's like, what? I'm like, didn't you ring your mum back? Like, you know, like. So we've all got a bit of Mon in us, thankfully. So
Mhm.
I
4D chess.
do like that it's like a, it's slightly recurring theme because in Leia, Bail, and Brea have a fake argument when Tarkin invites himself to dinner, to the
Mhm.
rebellion dinner.
Mhm.
And so Bail and Brea start a fake argument where Brea starts accusing Bail of cheating with Mon Mothma.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, that's just the thing to do.
There's
what was that from?
That's in the Leia Princess of Alderaan book by
cool.
Bloody Great. Top tier book. Recommend it.
There's-
But that's my favorite scene.
There's a Legends comic where like Leia throws ice cream out of her window on Tarkin. Like, which I know it's Legends, but it's funny to me.
At what age was she?
It gotta be like barely double digits.
Okay. I thought you were going to say
Yeah.
like 17 or something.
No. She's gotta be like 10, like slightly older than Kenobi, probably.
Oh, wow. That's
The show, I would imagine. But like I said, Legends. But anyway, it's still funny nonetheless. Under what's the word? Any disrespect of Tarkin, I am always a fan of.
damn straight.
Mm-hmm. Good times. I mean,
And
that
for
goes
the
for most
record,
smashes.
Leia. For the record, when Bail and Brea start their fake argument, Leia starts fake crying once she realizes what's happening to like
Mhm.
really
Oh.
sell it. It's a great scene.
I'll
What
hit them. I'll hit that. My reaction is a Rick O'Lea line. You catch on pretty quick.
While you were reading it, Zoe, what did you fake do?
What? I don't know if I fake did anything. I'm just
Okay.
reading. That
No,
was,
I
that was
just thought
the thing.
I just thought you'd
No.
all be helping. Like you'd like,
Oh,
it's
I would
cold.
be
Like you just
helping.
start
No,
saying
I
it's
was-
cold or something because
I
some
was-
sort of
no.
diversion.
I think I was laughing when I read it. I remember I was like just like sitting on the floor laughing, reading. It was great.
Real laughs or
Great time.
fake laughs?
they were real. I thought it was pretty
Oh,
funny.
you're not
You
going
gotta work
along
I
on
with
the
that.
know.
game, Zoe.
I know.
How are
Star
you gonna
Wars-
run a rebellion like this?
Star Wars is meant to be more immersive than that.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Come on.
You need to add dice to that subterfuge pile.
Yeah, Mon Mothma was pretty great. She's
Yeah, yeah.
always
And
always
Perrin is
great.
pretty terrible.
He's
Mhm.
always
Yeah.
you know, I said last episode, there's a lot of windows, a lot of high places in course.
Look, we can
Oh, I'm
close
sorry.
out all the Mothma and Mothma scenes real quick. How did y'all feel about that last one? Their faces are like not quite stricken, but like
Ugh.
definitely in thought.
The thing was, it's hard because I'm not particularly fond of Leda. I think she's an interesting character, but I'm not particularly fond of her. I don't know, because also like on one hand, I don't know, for the rebellion, clearly,
Look, not
Mothma-
like, just to be fair, from like Steele and I's point of view, like you guys are a little closer to like that sort of age and that sort of like than us. So like I don't like Lita either. But I'm also like, there are 0 points that I can connect under to. Like, is there anything that you guys can see that even
How's
I mean, to me, like when she looked at Mon, when they were walking up, when she looked at Mon, to me that was because we know their relationship's a little tense, and to me that
little?
was Leda. Little. To me that was Leda looking.
if you were giving
for
your parent dirty
her
looks
approval?
every time they're in the room?
I don't think it was a dirty look. I know. I think Leda. I
If
mean,
it was
that
me
scene.
and one of you looked at me like that, I would throw you out the window.
Okay.
Zoe,
Okay,
you're not even my
fine.
kid.
Okay.
To
well-
add a note to that, if I even look to the side or any other direction, we would get thrown out a
Mhm.
window.
That's
Good
fair.
to know.
Mhm.
The thing with in that scene when Leda looked at Mon, to me that was Leda kind of looking to see like if like do I have her approval? Like she's I think she's in that kind of like she doesn't like Mon and like they have that poor relationship, but also like it's still her mom. And she's like kind of like, look, Mom, like I'm doing the thing you did when you were my age, Like and clearly Mon is not happy about it, but maybe not exactly sharing that with Leda. So I don't know. It's hard. It's hard because like I don't agree with it, but it's also not like Leda's kicking screaming. Like she is very much into like she wants to be an Chandrilan traditionalist, and that does go with it. And if that's what Leda wants, you know what I mean?
the how's if you guys were from Chinchilla or wherever it's called? What is it? Chinchilla.
Sure.
Chandrilla. No,
Chinchilla.
Chinchilla.
Look,
y-
one time I
you-
was on the Star Cruiser and somebody said Chandrila.
Chandrilla.
Angela.
Oh,
That's a song, isn't
that's beautiful. Chandrilla.
it?
Yeah, if you guys were from Chandrilla or wherever, you missed the boat. You're old spinsters now.
I know.
Do you know what I mean? Like once you're like past 17 or whatever, it's like you are done and dusted.
That's it. Perrin's going like, who's left at your age? 19-year-old.
Yeah, all the good ones are taken, as
All
they
the
say.
good ones are taken. Yeah, I got a problem with 2/3 of that family.
No, the daughter though is like from her point of view of her mum, like the only thing that makes sense is she's a terrible mum. Like she's not. It's not
And I
within.
can
It's not within
understand
her
that,
reality
dude.
that she's like establishing a rebellion.
But like the understandable, but also the things that like, let's just say like from her point of view, yeah, she's not present. She's a terrible mom. She's blah 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 blah. This like, you don't even have respect for the person that's putting food on your table. Like, there's a lot there that's like, okay, it's fine. You're not a great mom. Do you like your house and your drivers and your ability to organize fundamentalist little retreats in your dining room? Like,
Yeah.
I got an issue with Lita.
All right, but
And
like
also,
this way.
and at
No,
the
like-
same
like-
time,
no,
it's
like,
also,
look at the
She's a
parents
child.
though.
I get it, but also
She's
you're
got
done.
half a mum, and then her full dad is Perrin. Like,
That's
come
true.
on.
I understand that, but
I'm
also
on
like
Steele's side.
at some point you understand like reality.
Mhm.
Like you're a kid in high school. Yeah, you have parent and that's who brought you up raising up. But in theory, you go to high school with other students and you read books and then you're like, is this normal? Question mark? Huh. Maybe my
Dad, you
dad
know how
is a
long it
jerk.
took for me to do that? A
I'm
long time.
I'm sympathetic to Leda.
Past 13.
But I do also think, like, at the same time, like, her mom, she knows her mom's a senator. Like,
Right.
she's not like, oh, I'm a,
But also to be
I don't
fair,
know, I don't want to
senator,
say a career because that seems, but she's like,
demanding
I like,
job and a
yeah, well,
career.
that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
And
Like, she knows
also
her mom's a
not
senator.
just a
She's not
senator,
just like
but a senator that is
doing
a
nothing.
thorn in the side of these people consistently, right?
Yeah.
But her public persona is,
An irritation.
yeah, like just a bit of a whinger, like a bit of a farce almost, like a do-gooding, like tree hugger to, like, you know, that
Okay.
sort of,
And
like,
that begs
for
the
an-
question: if that is that the amount of respect that she treats her with? Because I still have a problem with it.
From what I said, I think I had a long talk about it on our Star Wars Geek Girl podcast.
This one.
Yeah, this one. It's a little confusing because now Zoe and Dad are here. But
Get it straight.
I mentioned that through, what's her name again? Lita. Through Lita's eyes, 13 years old, only, like, from what Steele said, only parent technically that is present is Perrin, who we all established needs to get punched first, all established that he's awful, and he hates Mothma. Maybe
He
not
won the
hate,
poll. He won the
but
poll.
doesn't like her. So even when, you know, Mothma is talking to another guy who's literally a friend, he's like, oh, go check on your mom, she might be cheating on me. Like, every time during all of those parties, she went over to check on her mom. And, like, so it doesn't help with Perrin feeding her all of these awful things. And then the other problem being that she's 13, doesn't know how to, you know, think for herself, even with her peers. No, like, her peers are probably people that are like
Well,
parents'
they were all around the
friends.
table with her chanting about the old ways and braids.
Yeah,
and stuff,
exactly.
right?
So they are also people that are like, yeah, we would love to just get sold off. That's awesome. I love that. Like, so even her peers, it doesn't even matter because it's in the same group, the same area. Probably their parents also probably hate Mothma and think that she is an irritation.
I've seen documentaries about this.
Like, it's a whole thing, and unfortunately Lita won't be able to see that, hopefully, till later, or hopefully when Perrin does something really bad and crosses the line.
Well, see, that's like something I'm looking forward to so much, because it's like the Breaking Bad moment of, like, the family or the cop brother-in-law finding out who really is who. Like, how fascinating is it going to be? Like, there has to be a point where Mon disappears,
Yeah.
and there has to be some tipping point where Perrin and, what's her name, Layla or something, whatever,
Lita.
Leda.
so they,
Yeah.
do you know what the problem is? There's no figures. If there was figures, I would at least see them in Target, and that's how I learned the name.
I know Droopy McCool's name.
Yeah.
Do you know
right on.
Belle's name? She
Yeah,
has a
it's Ve-
figure now.
Yeah, I know her.
No, it's on pre-order.
Oh, wow. She's
Yeah,
getting
it
a
does.
figure.
It does have to be in the shop, because I look to look
Okay.
at, like, even though there's nothing on the back, I always look.
Yeah.
They
And
never
Susan-
have any merchandise until like 6 months later. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Why
Us.
why am I full of Thors 3 months before the movie comes out and then there's no Andor or anything? Don't
Mhm.
get it.
Yeah.
It's-
But-
it's-
Just now getting Jabim Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
There's
But,
plenty of Landos ready to go for that Return of the Jedi 40th
Ah,
anniversary.
yes. Landonis Balthazar Calrissian.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Oh, you don't know this?
No.
Get a new figure, sir.
Yeah. But just going back to Lita. So Lita, small child, 13.
Not a child.
Still a kid. Like, Axel's
Still a kid. I
16,
was
he
gonna
still
say-
doesn't know anything. Um,
Oh, is she only 13? I thought she was 16.
No, she's
13.
13.
13.
Oh, that's
13.
even. Oh, that's even.
tiny,
Oh.
only figure in her life, technically, parent, awful person. Sees mom is never there. Even if mom is doing really good things and putting food on the table, still sees that there is no mom to go to. That's it.
So
Yet eats food.
do you think to balancing things out with the Chantrillin marriage deal, like, because they're all so opulent and high end, but do you think because they're getting married when they're 13, the wedding music's played by a banjo just to balance it out?
We are a people of tradition.
Because that's the sort of that's the instrument I expect at a 14-year-old or a 13-year-old's wedding. That's some honking good times.
Literally. Right. A
Yeah.
banjo and 3 jugs.
Yeah, I just imagine like Cletus from The Simpsons.
It also sucks since she is getting married so young. And apparently she's taking the first proposal like to come her way.
You
Well,
never
they
take
didn't
the
promise
first
a proposal. They didn't promise a
To
proposal.
be
They
fair,
promised a
It looked
meeting.
like
There we go. Like, to be like my like Mon side of this is like, look, all you promised was an invitation and an introduction. So like that part of it, I'm like, okay, I can get behind that. I can have to fight this fool one time and never invite him again. Like that was like when the thing was originally proposed. As mad as I was, as mad as Mon Mothma was, I was like, well, maybe you can just give them the introduction and then be like, yes, here's dinner, bye.
Yeah, but
Never.
that's like your mum swiping right or left. I don't know. I've never used one of those apps, but whatever way, that's your mum
Yeah.
getting your Tinder and going, yep, that one. It's
But if you're like all about this tradition and arranged marriage and braids or
Mhm.
whatever, like clearly she's got all her friends in high school all thinking about it or whatever. Wait, she's 13?
it's middle school. It's not
Eighth
even high
grade?
school.
I started high school at 13.
Worst. Can you imagine getting married in middle school,
Eighth,
Dad?
ninth.
Hmm?
Sal, imagine taking Axel someone around now to someone's house and like presenting him
Right.
and like it's these kids.
You're like,
Go.
look, it's Axel.
Go ahead.
What can he do?
She's got
I don't know.
Bye.
she's got nice ponytails up the front, Axel.
Yes, this will increase our family holdings.
But it's also like a very different cultural context. Like Mon Mothma, even if she disagrees with it, she is a little used to it. So it's
Mhm.
not like as weird, even if she doesn't like it. You know what I
Right,
mean?
like she literally did this at her age,
Yeah.
apparently.
But it's also like you're introducing to the like your daughter to the children, like the dad owns the local pawn shop or something. Like he's
Right. And that's the part that she doesn't seem to like that, or and I think she doesn't like the tradition as a whole.
Yeah, I think it's
But
like
also-
I think it's like a
Yeah.
Sinter knife attack. Like there's one jab and then there's another like, oh,
Yeah.
like it's a double
The
double
thing that
stab
I-
up.
The thing I definitely take to heart is like there's no promise of an actual proposal or betrothal or anything like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, it's a swipe though. It's
Yeah, but like the mere introduction is a little bit of a
the Chanchillin swipe.
right. Yes,
Very
the chinchilla
traditional.
swipe, as we all
Yeah.
know and love.
The, chi-
Yeah, I
the,
don't
ch-
know. It's
the chinchilla spike. Yeah, that's
yeah. I don't know. It's like I don't like it, but also like she wasn't really left with a choice
Yeah.
for the
in
for
the
the
words
rebellion.
of Barney, I hate it.
Well, but also it, and again, this is where I'm a little tired with Leda. I'm like, well, like you said, you like tradition,
Yeah, this is what you
you
want.
know,
Yeah.
like this is what you wanted.
Uncle
But to
Mo's
be-
It'd be one
family
thing if
feed
it'd be
bag.
one thing if like Mon Mothma brought it up to Leda and Leda was like crying, kicking, screaming, like, no, absolutely not. And Mon Mothma
Right,
still forced
right.
it, but Leda's like at least a little bit into it.
yeah.
So-
I thought she was down.
Yeah, I don't like
So,
that.
like-
Doesn't make me like it any better because she's 13.
No, it's
Yeah,
not great.
at the
but
same
it's-
time, you're right. She's not kicking and screaming.
Yeah, I
But it
still
doesn't-
don't like
things
it.
can exist at the same time.
And again, if it's really just an introduction. So like
Mm,
that's
right,
also
right.
But-
the
and that-
thing too.
That's
I-
all that's promised.
And
Yeah.
I feel like it would be easier on Mon Mothma if she was fighting about it. I think the fact that she's
Mhm.
like she's going with it, it's like even like, oh, like what, like this is what a horrible scenario this is in.
Mhm.
And like,
Like-
this is the first time in the entire series that she's looked at her mom and not like made a face,
Mhm.
which is also worse.
But even the fact that it is in like introduction, she's still swayed very easily. And unfortunately, 13-year-olds don't know better. And I think if she's really excited about this whole marriage thing, she might just go for it because,
Mhm.
unfortunate. But especially if they are showing that scene, it might just lead to
Mhm.
that whole proposal for that.
Especially, she's smart. If she can work out that Mon Mothma's not down for it, that's even sweeter. Let's get, yes, like let's rebel
Yeah.
more.
I've been like, I watched like the new season of The Crown, so I keep like, I see too many similarities between there and like the royal family and these weird old traditions, which leads to a lot of sadness for Princess Di specifically. This is not spoilers. This actually happened.
Yeah, I think the whole thing with Leda, like again, like I don't like it, but also like Mon Mothma clearly doesn't like it and was kind of stuck. But
I
I'm
don't
curious
even
to
know if she was.
see.
I think she may be exploring all the options because she kind of like
Mhm.
threw her husband under the bus on the one side and then went ahead and introduced this dude. So apparently they're going to cover up that 400,000 anyway. And who knows what Vel's doing? Because Vel knows about it now and might even be searching
Mhm.
for a solution to help her cousin.
Yeah, well,
You
that's
know.
why she wanted to see Luthen, was to get the cash.
No, she
'Cause-
didn't even want to see Luthen. Luthen showed up and was like, "Oh, you guys are here to kill him too? Cool."
Well, in the last
No,
episode, she was looking for his shop. She was looking for him in
Oh,
his
that's
shop
right.
in the
No,
last
she
episode.
was showing up at the shop to be like,
But she was looking
the
for
mother
She was
died.
telling him, telling about Marva.
yeah,
not
she was
for
looking.
money.
They
What?
were look on mission for Cassian, nothing to
Yeah.
do with her cousin.
No. But Val wanted to see Luthen to get the money. Because
She
once
didn't say anything about that.
no, because
she was just talking about Marva.
Yeah. She was like, the mother
Nah.
died.
No. Mon Mothma had the sit down with Val
Yes.
and said, "I'm in a lot of trouble, Val. How
True.
much?" Said the amount.
True.
She goes straight to Luthen's house, and then Luthen's gone.
True.
So she follows Luthen. Like she went to
False.
see Luthen to get the money.
No, she talks to her and she says, when she's talking to Clea, she's like, the mother's dead. He's going to show up there. Like, we need to do this like now. And then she's like, there
Yeah,
are
but
rules,
she
and they
went.
have all this
But
conversation.
but she went to Luthen. The reason why she went to Luthen and
Yeah,
was just
well-
like breaking the rules was to get the money.
She never said anything about it. All she talked about was Ferrex and
Yeah.
Andor.
Right. You can trust him. Why else did she rush?
And even when she shows up at Andor, all she does is go to Cinta and be like, all right, where is he? Where is he? Okay, is he coming out? Okay, we'll hide. And even when she sees Luthen, she doesn't mention anything about Andor. She's just like, okay,
Yeah,
we're
she
going to
dropped
keep
the
our
ball
eyes
there,
out.
but it's in action. No, it's not about Andor. It's about the money.
I think
to-
it is.
No, it's about
I
the
don't
money
think-
to get Mon
But she didn't
Mothma.
mention. She never
She never
mentioned
said
the
a word
money.
about the money again.
But that's why she went.
She didn't say it.
Lizzy, where are
Not
you?
even to Cinta.
Defend me.
She even goes
Defend
back
me,
to
Lizzy.
Cinta, and Cinta's like, oh, they're over here, they're over
Okay,
there.
why
Maybe
did
he's
she
gonna hide
go
out
from
over there.
Why did she go from Mon Mothma to Luthen's and was like checking he was there in the garage and was all breaking protocol? She
Maybe
broke the
she-
twig. Why did why?
Because-
What
Her
was the
mission-
impetus? It was the
because she
money.
got-
Her mission
She got
from the
the
get.
information. She got the information from Cinta about Marva, and then she was gonna rush there, but she was in a rush because she was stopping to Luthen before she was rushing to Cinta.
Wait, when did she get the information about Martha?
They didn't show that, but it's
Yeah, but
between
she had been in
Mothma
contact
and-
with Cinta. And then
Yeah.
even the conversation between Clea.
What? Cinta and Mon Mothma? What?
No, Cinta
No,
and Vel.
and Belle.
No. So they had communicated, but we didn't see it.
Right. Because when she goes
Mhm.
into the office, she says the mother died. And then Clea tells Luthen, and when they're talking in code, they're like, oh, it's going to be a crowded market. Maybe you should steer clear. And Luthen's like, well, I would hate for somebody else to get this particular piece of intel or this piece, this collector's. So they're talking about Cassian. he might show up, but she's telling her like all these other people might show up too. The Imperials are there, ISB is there.
All right,
You know-
I renege.
Thank you.
I withdraw my case.
I just won Ace Attorney.
God damn. Hey, I'm gonna have to dip out to finish my roast. I'm cooking the fam.
Wait, whose
Um,
favorite speech do you like
Out of the whole thing.
out of the last episode?
Oh, you can't beat
Marva.
Mother. Damn it, Lizzy. I just remembered it, and you
Just
said
make
it.
an action figure.
Yeah, big hollow one. That's what.
Yeah.
If this was like 2005, there'd be holographic Marva like out there like 3 months ago.
It's true.
Be sick of it. Oh, Marva.
Mhm.
hologram.
B2
What-
special case with a holographic Marva and a like brick.
Wait,
Right
and
on.
what do you remember the like
Brick.
C3PO like and Darth Vader like action figure cases? You know
Yes.
what I'm talking about? The like
Yes,
hold
I
on, I
do.
want a B2 one.
They're,
You could
they're,
fit more because it's a box.
It's true.
they're molded
Very
into my mind.
rectangular.
Hey, I just before I go though, I do want to say one thing. My least favorite thing about the episode, actually, and I'm so scared to say this because Sal's just like tearing into me tonight. So
Dad's going feral right now.
I didn't like the final line. It
From
wasn't
Cassian?
clear. It wasn't clear cut enough. I think if they made it a more clear cut line, I would be like, yes, because like Gilroy had hyped the final line to say this is where Cassian's at for the next season. But when he said, either you kill me or take me in, I was like, why would he take him into the Empire? That makes no sense. Like I thought, like when you take, I know like you can take in like an, like, you know, like a,
Recruit.
I took it more as like the orphan status.
Yeah, I didn't
felt
take
could
that.
have taken,
Right, right.
I was like as a prisoner, and I was like, it just like I felt like if they just spent,
You just
like, and
got
the
out
rest
of
of it was so
prison, bro.
perfect, but like I don't know if it was more clear cut of just like either you kill me or we'll kill them or we'll bring them like either like that, like it was, you know, something, but all nicely written. I felt like that was like the rallying thing of just like, yeah, let's go. But yeah, it just didn't, like, it confused me a bit. So I didn't have that like, you know, like it was sort of like his, I am now Cassian Andor action figure. Like, do you know what I mean? I am now, like, there's going to be another season of adventures, but I am now the person that you saw in Rogue One. Like, that is my conviction, is like, I'm just rebelling 24/7, 100%. You're not going to, and yeah. So just that line, I don't know. It just didn't, I didn't like, the episode was sick, but I just didn't leave it with that, like that thing of adrenaline, which a lot of times in, say, like The Mandalorian would be like a cameo or something like that. But like this was more character based, and yeah, just that line which really established who he was didn't click with me. The Death Star thing, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, but like it's sort of like a true Easter egg in it's not like,
It's like mostly unrelated.
yeah, I guess the Death Star is coming, but it's not like, oh my God, in the next episode, it's Death Star. Like it's sort of just, it was sort of like an answer to a riddle. I did think it was a little bit too modern-y CGI for, you know, not my Death Star, which I'm like, it was, do you know what I mean? And like, and the camera angle was just like,
Where's my like white Star Destroyer with
It was-
like lighting that
it was
looks like a
just-
model?
yeah, just the shot was so CGI, and like it was like zooming in, and it was sort of just a bit out of the cinematic Star Wars, especially when it was Death Star. Like, I don't want to get all like, no bricks in Star Wars, but that was just my my little thing. But it was cool to have it answered. I thought it was Like I didn't think of that. Like all I could think, because they, it sort of leaked out that there was a little hidden bit. I was just picturing someone turning around and it's Mendo, and it's like, oh, it's Mendo. Like that's
He's like driving one of the little droids.
yeah, he's doing whatever. He's just kicking it. He's kicking it in his cape, and he's coming. God, I hope they get him for the second season. But I better go and finish this little roast off. But thanks so much, you guys, for having me. Happy Thanksgiving to you guys.
I thought your dislike of the last line was very valid and understandable.
I didn't even think of that. I'm not on that team. I'm sorry.
I
got
disagree,
it.
but I
liked
respect
it.
your opinion.
I respect it, but I disagree.
I just have a hard time understanding things sometimes, because even in songs they say things, I'm like, you could have said it this way, because I didn't know that meant that. But that's just because I comprehend things weirdly. But I also thought it was like, take him in as into the Empire at first, which is funny because I didn't understand that. But when Mothma was accusing Perrin for gambling, I was like, oh, I see what's going on. Like it was switched up.
You win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
50-50.
It's a balance.
But I appreciate you having my back on a few of these issues, Lizzy, because Sal he's I don't know
What do you need to make a roast for? He's already got you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Boom, roasted, in the words of Michael. Boom, roasted. Boom, roasted.
I've heard a few jokes in my time, but that was very well placed. So it's all right. I'm gonna leave with my tail between my legs.
What little dignity left.
Yeah, right. Jeez. Scathing.
Hey, he's never gonna come on our show now.
Wow. I'm gonna go hide on Hive now and just
Hey, I'm on Hive too.
See you there, homie.
I'm everywhere.
all right. Well, because it never quite often it doesn't reload for me. So
It doesn't load. It never loads.
Yeah, I think that will help because in my paranoia, it's just people going, oh, I heard Steele turkey, like a roast. But have a great Thanksgiving weekend, everyone. And it was so good catching up with you guys.
Bye, Steele. Thank you.
Bye.
It was nice seeing you.
It was and we should point out Lizzy's been on the side, her screen's been on the side for the whole thing. So I'm
Spider-Man vibes.
she's like was it Crispin Glover in Back to the Future 2? Just upside down all the time. I don't think it was him then. They got in.
I was gonna say they put a different guy upside down. That way you couldn't tell it wasn't Crispin Glover.
True that. All right, you guys, have a good one. That was awesome fun.
Bye.
You too. Bye-bye. All right. I think we
Did
should
we miss
make
anything?
well a
Yo,
lot of things.
Okay.
But
all of
hold
it.
on. Wait, hold. I think we should, from that roast that you just made to Steele, it makes me want to somehow make like those stupid, awful YouTube like clickbait things for our podcast and be like, Steele turned to roast turkey this episode.
I mean,
not
Zoom
clickbait.
I'll have the video file. I'll give you the video file if you want it. You can do whatever you want.
Just send me the
Look, Zoe, you're
screenshot
the
that you
person
took
doing the,
or
film school
something.
stuff.
There's no YouTube thumbnail class, unfortunately.
Just put
Yeah,
red
so-
eyes in it.
Red eyes, a
Circle
red
Steele with a
circle.
red circle and a little
Cir-
arrow.
The
somewhere.
circle and arrows.
Yeah.
Did
I'll-
Steele
you
have
gotta,
fun on
or
this
you
show?
You do the distorted eyes, so their eyes are really big and it looks like their mouth. Like, you know what I'm talking about when they
Yeah.
Right,
distort
right.
people's faces.
The Sith
that-
list reaction videos.
Send me that screenshot you took, and I will make a few.
of the ski
Yeah.
lift?
Because
it's
we
on
don't
the
have
notes.
one of just us. Where?
Of the ski lift screenshot,
here it
you
is.
mean? It's on the
Got it.
notes. You can have it.
Mine now.
Oh my.
Okay, Marva.
Brasso clocking someone with Marva's brick.
Yes.
That she would
Top
absolutely
tier
love.
Star Wars moment.
Like
Um,
that's the kind of stuff that I can get behind. And if you guys like,
that was the best place to put her brick was in an Imperial skull. Like,
yes, but like not a little bit, like just to go back like a teeny tiny little bit, like when he's having the memories of Clem,
mm,
he's like, he goes up, there's a brick in the wall,
mhm.
like he's talking to Clem,
Yeah.
or like he's remembering, like, and he's there, like wherever that is. So I just thought it was cool because a lot of people were like, wait, like is there a wall of dead people, or, and it seems like it's just kind of all over town, because he like went to a certain little like stairwell where there was Clem, and maybe that's a place that Clem liked or whatever, you know, like that's what it kind of seems like to me. Like maybe they find a
That's
place.
my impression. Is it's not
Yeah.
like there's just like the wall
Yeah.
of like dead people, but it's like if there's somewhere special to someone.
Right. But I think
That's
maybe like,
because at least like because well at least when the Imperial guy was explaining, he said they find a wall.
yeah.
You know,
But
so
I
like
think Marva is like, hers is like in the center of town because she's a daughter of
Mhm.
like, you know, so like hers is like a
Yeah.
bigger deal. Go ahead.
I had a question,
Go ahead, sideways person.
kind of. Thanks.
Speak.
Like, so this episode was called Rick's Road, right?
Mhm.
Yes. I kind of wish it was called Daughter of Ferrix more.
That was the
than
last
Rick's
one.
Road.
That was
I
what the
know.
last one was called.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I think that, not that it should be switched, but I thought that the Daughter of Ferrix would have fit more
I don't
with
know.
this episode, but
I
I
like,
don't know.
because like they mention a few times that like she would avoid Rick's Road because that's where Clem was
Mhm.
hung.
Mhm.
Like,
That
so
makes
that
sense.
seems like that's sort of like the central square of the town, and like finally she's going there. Like over the last couple episodes before she passed, she like overcame her fear of it, like, and now she's
Mhm.
lifting other people to her same. So I like the idea that this is like where it ends, like the place that they were
Mhm.
so scared to, like, you know, like finally.
Yeah.
That's
I
fair.
don't-
And because they I think Rick's Road has been mentioned since the first episode. Like they
Yeah.
at least said in passing, like, oh, go to Rick's Road or I was on Rick's Road or whatever.
Well, that's what Luthen
So I
said.
think
Like they hung your father out on Rick's Road, right? Or
yeah.
whatever.
So I think like naming the last episode Rick's Road when it's something because like we just learned Daughter of Ferrix. We just heard that for the first time last episode, I believe.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Where I think Rick's Road fits better as the title of the finale because we've heard of Rick's Road or it's been mentioned and it's been like a thing throughout the whole show. So that being the finale title makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah,
That's
just
fair.
like thematically, I just really like the idea that like, and this is where it all kind of ties into Rebels for me, because I've always been watching this show with the entire thing in my head of like season 1 of Rebels is happening right now.
Mhm.
And I thought like something that could like something far reaching, if there was going to be anything far reaching, that there could be some sort of like overlap, compromise, whatever. In my head, it's Ezra's speech.
Mhm.
Like Ezra has a speech that he's sort of like, that's when we're strongest as one, and then Tarkin blows up the thing. And I thought like, and the idea is that that speech getting out is sort of what starts to inspire a lot of rebel cells, and even like the, you know, like later in the finale of season 1 is where they, because of that speech, they leaders start to unite the cells.
Mhm.
You know, that's where like Ahsoka comes and she's like, well, things have changed, like now we're going to start to like put this all together. So I always thought if there was going to be any sort of like interesting crossover, that would be it. But the idea that it's like, it's not that speech, like it's kind of happening everywhere, and like it is that speech for some people, but for him it's a lot more personal for the people that he cares about. Because if he would have heard that speech, he would have ignored it, you know what I mean? Like in the first episode he's like, oh, partisan front, rebel alliance, all you fools, you know what I mean? But like the mother that raised him, uh and like fighting back against the people that killed his father, and the like the things that they constantly do and take from them their entire lives, you know, and Marva being the person that inspires. And I love the idea, like, you guys don't know this because you are teeny, but as you get older, you start to realize there's more time that you have to look back on than time you have left. And her saying something like, if I could do it all over again, I would fucking wake up early and smash these fools in the face with a brick. Like that idea of like, you have these regrets of the things you didn't do. You'll never get up and just be like, I don't know, oh, it's a good thing I just decided not to go out and have McDonald's today. But you'll always remember the time that you were like, you know what? I'm gonna like go to the beach, or like I'm gonna call my like one friend that I haven't seen for like, as you go through life, you build these memories and these things that matter. And none of them matter if you don't make them matter. Like even something as simple like this is a Thanksgiving. We just passed colonizer day. You know, like, is it special to us because colonizers killed people? No, it's special because like we try to spend time with our family, you know, and like you'll never remember the day that you just didn't do anything, but you'll always remember the time that like such and such ate too much turkey and got sick, or you know, like whatever it was. Like these memories that you have, like you build them, and you have to make an effort to build them, because if you just decide to not do anything with your life, you're not going to have that much to look back on, you know. And I just think it's a really like beautiful and poetic thing that she looks back at her life now and is like, I should have done something sooner. Like we were sleeping, and that's why this happens, and that's happening like to all of us, like as we move through this life. It's really beautiful, and it's really sad, and it's really touching, and it's really inspiring.
Yeah,
Like
and
especially to her son.
Mhm. And I think, like I was thinking because you mentioned like this related to Ezra's speech, and I think that really it's an interesting like dichotomy almost, because like Mara was an important, very respected figure within this community, where Ezra, some people knew and respected his parents, but most people's interactions with Ezra would have been him like stealing their yogurt,
Right.
or whatever. So it's like
Which
very
also,
opposite.
at the beginning, like that's who Andor is. Oh, you like
Yeah.
you owe everybody money and da, da, da,
Yeah.
da.
And it's like Ezra and Marva are on these like different ends of the spectrum, but it's the same result, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah. I always feel like Andor is a little bit like Ezra, a little further along
Mm.
in his thing if he wasn't found by the rebels, you know. And then to be fair, like at the end, he does the same thing. He comes back to save his home.
Mhm.
Like he comes back to save his people, even though they might not have respected him and they're mad that he stole a Yogan fruit or whatever. You know, he was trying to help his people when they were losing their farms or this or that. Like, and he's instrumental in the reclamation of his home. You know, whether Marva, like, we don't know what happens to Ferrix. Are they going to crack down on them now? Do they have the resources? You know, Andor and his people sort of leave the planet. So like they have to leave their home. You know, is that like season 2 of Rebels where they sort of have to like leave until things cool down? Are the people suffering extra because of them? Like, we don't really know that, but like we know what the Empire does and what the Empire is. But we also know like the other side of it is the whole Luthen thing, which is like the oppression breeds rebellion. So the fire boiled over on this one planet, and maybe it's going to get stomped a little bit before people come back. But the people that like, you know, like the kid that built the pipe bomb and Bix, and like he rescued a few of his homies, you know.
Which,
So
can I just say, that was like, he probably didn't mean to throw it in that specific area, but he knocked a lot of people out. Like, I don't know if he
Yeah.
killed
Oh,
them
he did
because a lot
great.
of people got up, but like he did so good. And I
He
thought it was
was-
so funny because only Zoe will understand this, but like he was just standing there, he was waiting. I was like, oh, he's gonna use his ult. He's waiting. He's waiting to use his ult. He's waiting to use his
like I
special
played Final
ability.
Fantasy. We got limit breaks. It's fine.
Okay. I was like, he's waiting to use his ability.
he was waiting
like,
he was waiting to throw that nerf this.
yeah,
He chose
literally.
the exact right moment.
But like that's also like thematic of all of, and even like back to Rebels, like that spark that ignites the fire.
Mhm.
Like even in A New Dawn, there's like a whole prologue that's talking about these people, like these worlds that the Empire crushes. They are like bombs waiting to go off on all of these planets because there are all these people, this inertia, this oppression of these things. And like that's what it is. He's the spark that throws the bomb that ignites everything on that particular planet because he lost his family. You know, and it's like it's not even a throwaway line, but it's a line in the episode before or 2 episodes where the guy's like, can I hang the dad? Yeah, sure, go ahead. You know, like so we know that his dad is dead. Like we know what happened. You know, and if like you didn't pick it up, then they show him looking at a picture of his dad.
Yeah, that's another thing too. I think I appreciated about Andor because it didn't like shy away from violence. It's very like this is war, this is what it is. But it focused more on sometimes like the impacts of violence. Like I've been watching The Boys, and it's like a very different approach to violence. And I think I prefer The Boys is a great show, but I think I prefer what Andor has, which is like they know when to let you fill in the gaps, you know, instead of being like, hey, watch this guy's head explode, you know.
Right. But it's like it's not even because like something like Andor, it's about the impact of what all this means to the people, you know, and that goes back to like Rebels. Like that's what it was. It was about this kid who had nothing. Like these people that fight, like what are they fighting for and why are they fighting? You know, and I just feel like this is like the most Rebels things we've got since like Rebels. And I know it's
Rebels.
like a weird, some people are like, well, this is all, I don't know, like adult and mature show, and like Rebels is like a cartoon. How can there be anything similar? But it's really about the same thing. Like these people who are oppressed, who find a way, a reason, a family to fight for. And that's what like Andor is, even though they like do it a little differently, even though like, you know, like, and it does tie back into like later episodes of Rebels where they're fighting with Saw, and it turns out like, hey man, like sometimes it's how you fight too. Like where you see kind of like both sides, at least from Rebel side point of view. But the like the idea of the apathy that you just like let things happen because you don't care because you're just trying to make your own way, and then the idea of trying to be something better and trying to help other people, and those are like some of the lessons that like Marva taught him that he wasn't ready for until he was, you know. And she says something, you know, when those things meet, he will become an unstoppable force for good.
Yeah, and I thought it was so to hear Marva's words to Cassian, but have them filtered through Brasso was such a great and really interesting scene because Brasso, we didn't see him and Marva too much, but he was essentially acting like a son to her as far as taking care of her in Cassian's absence. And so like it was almost like Marva's two sons talking, which was really cool. And having like one of my favorite quotes from the episode was when it was Marva to Cassian through Brasso, I think, was like, I can love you more than anything you could ever do wrong. And I thought that was like such a beautiful quote. And like having that interaction was really nice and really cool.
There's so much like it's such a like it takes a look at the world and a lot of the things that are wrong and a lot of the reasons, but there's also like this beautiful reflection of what it takes for somebody like we could all be rebels if we just like had that confidence and had that like that spark and had that inspiration, you know, like you could do something real, you know. And I think that's like what Marva's like, there's regret there, but there's also like she even says that she's like, you know, every time I was lifted by the stone, like now I learned to lift you all. And she does. And then they take her and smack an Imperial upside the face with her.
Awesome.
Which is a thing that she would completely like somewhere on the other side in the living force, in the galactic cosmic force. Marva is smiling.
Yeah. I want to rewind a little bit too and mention Cassian also listening to Nemec's manifestos in this episode as well. I really want to get that whole audiobook. I'm not gonna lie, I want the whole thing. But it was, I think my favorite thing he said, and I'm gonna butcher it because it's much more well written than how I'm about to paraphrase, but he was saying like freedom is like natural. Like the reason the Empire has to scramble so hard and fight so hard to keep us oppressed is because it's unnatural. And like that's like why people fight for it. You know, I thought that was
Mhm.
a great companion to what Marva was saying.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like it's something so interesting that it's like this like he was there. He fought alongside this person that lost his life. And he like didn't really care too much about what he was doing at the time, you know. But that person's words were able to inspire him further along his journey and be there when he needed them to really show him like a little bit of the way, and it's things like that that like maybe you don't find them, or maybe they don't find you when you're ready, but when you are ready, it ties back into the Marva thing where she's like, once those forces unite, like he will be what he was meant to be. Like that potential you have, it's kind of there and it's ready when you're ready for it. And Nemec's like, they're in the episodes are kind of making, oh, he's writing his little manifesto,
Mhm.
just ask him. He already knows what's going on. But some of the things, it's like, it's simple, it's inspiring, it's beautiful, and it's something, I don't know, it's really, really nice. Like I like a lot of the speeches in Star Wars, and Star Wars isn't always a thing that's known for its writing and like things,
For dialogue at least.
but like something like that, like those kinds of things that can take you and even like let us think about the world that we live in. And I really like enjoy, because that's like those ties that ground something like that. Because once again, like when we're watching stories about Jedi and they're like, well, like, you can help us, you can be the hero that we need, and you're watching a person with a fake plastic sword and magic powers do things. But when you're seeing like the people on the ground who are just like us, and Nemec was just a person who just, maybe he wasn't he wasn't even that good at shooting. You know what I mean? Like he was on, and he like knew how the ship worked, and he came up with a plan and he made a model. You know what I mean? Like those are things that like those are like real people. And that's like the idea of Rogue One. And it's expanded so much here. Like these are the people, not just the children of former heroes who have certain amount of midichlorians and are chosen by destiny to overthrow the galaxy and bring back peace. Like there are these other people who are just like us everywhere. And if we just stand together, like we can make a difference.
Yeah, I think that's really like the thesis of this show overall. When I think the finale did it really well. We were talking about earlier too, like every character and everything comes to a head here. And like even Nemec, who died, like ostensibly his story, his part in this story is over, but he still has like a role to play.
Right. Like as much as Luke is inspired by Rogue One, Cassian is inspired by Nemec,
Mhm.
a person who came before him but taught him some of the things that he needed to understand or whatever. Or he was able to like follow in that legacy in a weird way. And even I don't know, we don't even know yet if he really changed Luthen's mind, but showing Luthen that he was like ready to be something else. When Luthen was like, well, we should just kill this guy, he knows too much. Taking that and sort of like changing it. And yeah, like there's just a lot about the Cassian character. Like I kind of feel like he is that character now, almost like that we met in Rogue One. He's the person who's willing to lay down his life for the cause. He's willing to do what needed to be done. And now we know why, like a little bit, a lot more about it actually. Like I feel his past and his there's still like some threads, like where's his sister? Not on Morlana 1, I guess, but
I think she's dead personally, but
yeah, we never go back to Canary.
no, maybe season 2, maybe.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe.
I think we got covered, he rescues Vix. It was
Mhm.
really sad because Vix was like, I can't go, like they're gonna be mad at me.
Yeah.
Which was really, really sad.
I love
and
when
then
she's like, Marva was here, and he's like, wasn't she great?
I know, so sweet. And then at the very end, so they have like one of the daughters of Ferrix, and then B2, Bix, Brasso's on there. There's like
And
all
the
the
son.
like main people from Ferrix
Yeah.
that are
The son
still
that married the
alive.
bomb.
And yeah, and then like I thought Cassian was gonna go with them, and I was like, oh good, like now I know they're all gonna survive. They're all on a ship with the main character.
Mhm.
And then
No, I
Cassian's
knew
like, all
right
right,
away.
and I'm like, and then Cassian leaves. I'm like, wait,
Uh-huh.
Cassian.
I
you
was
can't
like,
do
he has
that."
one more thread, and I knew where he was
I
going
was
too,
like,
because I was like, oh, he
I
knows
was
where that
like,
guy parks, because he rode a speeder with him like 10 episodes ago.
I was just so I was like, oh, like like they're getting on a ship with the main character, like they're gonna be fine.
Mhm.
And Cassian starts leaving. I'm like, oh, come on. And then they flew away. And Tony Gilroy said if they didn't die, they're not gonna be dead by the time jump in season 2. We don't know about what happens during the season, anything can happen then, but they're at least in my view alive for now. So and then Cassian has the conversations of Lupin, which I thought was really, I know Steele didn't like it. I thought it was very good. I thought it was a great line.
I was confused by it, but I still liked it, but it took me a second. I was like, why would he go to the for the rebellion?
It's so funny. It didn't even occur to me that it was like take him into the Empire. I was like, yeah, like take him under your wing. Like
Mhm.
that was just where my mind went. It didn't even occur to me the other way.
Yeah, I think Chopper would be proud of the violence that was beheld that day.
I think Chopper and Marva would have gotten along.
You're so right.
Now that you mention
Not Chopper and B2. I think
no.
droids can't cry, but Chopper would make B2 cry.
Yeah, no.
Um,
Like Chopper does wake up early to smash these fools.
Chopper doesn't even need to be awake. He'll smash him while he's
Right,
asleep.
right.
Yeah, then we also you'll mention the end credits where the little things they were building at the prison turned out to be parts of the Death Star, which I think a lot of people kind of predicted, but it was still
Mhm.
cool.
I was one of those people.
I think everyone was.
I thought it was a part of a TIE interceptor. I was like, well, it's kind of blue.
I was like,
TIE interceptors.
I think I said on the podcast, like Death Star would be cool because it's like, Cassian kind of builds what
Mhm.
ends him, and that's always like a fun thematic thing. But I also like it could also just be like kind of like just a random part of some random thing because the
Right.
Empire needs a lot of.
I was on the like
things.
it doesn't matter train, because I was like,
Yeah.
it's a weapon. It doesn't matter. Like
Mhm.
the Empire is making weapons to like strengthen their stranglehold
Mhm.
over the galaxy.
But it is interesting because I think while this isn't like a chosen one story, like a Luke story or a Rey or Anakin, it's still like Star Wars, I think, is kind of always in a way about fate, especially because we're exploring this character that we know how it ends. So I think like we kind of like, oh, like yay, Cassian's gonna do Rebel, and then it's like kind of a reminder of where it goes.
Mhm.
Which I think it's the same. It's like almost like an anti-Rogue One. The ending of Rogue One is like you're sad, everyone's dead, but then you get a reminder of the hope and that it's gonna be okay.
Mhm.
Where this is like, oh, it's great. I mean, not great, but like it's better. And then it's like, hey, remember this? Remember what happens in the end? So I think that was really cool.
I thought it was interesting. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like that's what they're building. But I was very much like I like the characters and their story, and like I'm much more of a fan of like the road and not so much like the Wikipedia entries.
Mhm.
Like where I don't like where things are just like, oh, like, and this is what that is because like boom, now we connected those things. Like I like I don't like, oh, and then he broke out of a prison. Like I like seeing what happened,
Yeah.
why he broke out of, and who helped, and like all the like those kinds of things. Yeah, I was very, very happy with the show. It's one of the best Star Wars
Mhm.
shows I've seen in a long time. And I'm very, very happy with it. And I just like I love I hope that this is like a springboard to Star Wars continuing to try new things,
Mhm.
because I don't like like rehashing of the same ideas and same themes over, even though it's like some themes are integral to Star Wars, like there's like the redemption and the like destiny and the like anybody can be a hero, and to like some point a little bit this is that, but like telling different stories differently, I like that. And I hope
Yeah.
Star Wars keeps thinking outside the box and continuing to grow,
Mhm.
so it doesn't
Mhm.
like be stagnant.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
And
I
just
think
representation in general is nice.
Latinos in space.
And LGBT in space.
and I think like one thing, like I feel like I see some people like, oh, like all Star Wars needs to be like as like dark as whatever as Andor. But I hope like the take from Andor is not that all Star Wars should be Andor, but like you said, like Star Wars should keep trying things differently, thematically, stylistically. Like
Mhm.
I think Star Wars is so big and it has like the potential to be anything. Like we saw in Visions last year.
Mhm.
Like Star Wars can be anything made by anyone. And I hope that's the true legacy of Andor in Star Wars, is that we can go any direction and do anything with it.
Right.
And it'll be awesome. We don't have to like limit ourselves to the same characters, the same stories. Yeah, I'm very excited for season 2. I know it's like 2 years away, likely is the timeline, but I'll wait however long it takes to get this level of quality.
Oh yes, you will.
Oh,
You don't have a
Deb,
choice.
I don't have a
thoughts on
choice.
Time Grappler.
Huh?
Your thoughts
Oh,
on
the Time Grappler was back.
Time Grappler returned. He got his moment to shine. He like, this is Sparta, some fool out the window.
I
In a
kinda
very
wish-
strangely Agent Callus move.
He
First time you've seen a
fully
Jedi,
kicked
sir.
him.
Ah.
Just fully kicked him. I wish we could have gotten some hammer action.
Right. I was thinking about it, and then I was like, oh, it's gonna be like Mandalorian, like
Yeah, I was like when he like
forgot-
smashes the
what's
helmet
the girl's
with
name?
Boba. Oh.
No, I was
Nice.
thinking of the armorer.
Oh,
She
with
fights with her little hammers when they go
yeah.
in.
I was
'cause he
thinking
has
about
two.
like when Boba
Boba-
like smashes the stormtrooper and like the helmet, like you get like the effect of the like cracking apart. That's what I wanted.
I liked it. It was simple. It was easy. And I like
was
the idea
good.
that he's just up there working and then he's like, what? Get out of here.
So, hey,
Your boss.
this is my anvil.
Uh-huh.
They were so mad. They're like, hey, make him stop. He's
Mhm.
just banging this little thing. Like,
Yeah.
what's he doing?
I was like, well, I would watch out because they might be able to shoot you from there.
Yeah, I was wondering why they
That's
didn't
honestly,
just
that would have been the better approach. Just
Right. Because I was like, oh, he's got the
but they-
stairwell covered. He'll just
even they
hammer
can't-
everybody.
they can't-
front kick everybody that comes up the stairs.
they can't see the helmet.
Well, okay,
So-
they couldn't see, but they shot a lot of people. Like,
But
give a
people on the
raise to that
ground,
one stormtrooper.
people
he shot
on
a
the
lot of
ground,
people.
like right in
Yeah.
front of them.
There were
not,
no
like,
scouts, Lizzie.
on a
No
tower.
I was
scouts
gonna
with
say
sniper rifles.
he was like, I was like, hey, I thought stormtroopers were supposed to be bad.
Yeah.
Stop.
You need a scout with a DLT-19.
Yeah.
Stormtroopers can't make that shot. They run up the stairs and get kicked. Yes, always Time Grappler. He wasn't on the ship though, so I'm a little worried.
Hmm.
I think they'll come back to Ferrix next season, and the Time Grappler is leading a legion of Time Grapplers, and they all have hammers, and they're just kicking people off towers.
Right, they just live in towers.
Yeah, it's all
They're just
Ferrix
like,
is all
Where's
towers.
the Empire? Come get us, bro.
and they have the high ground.
Yeah.
So Ferrix is all towers. They're just kicking
Mhm.
people off towers.
Somewhere Obi-Wan is pleased.
Yeah. What a great
I
show.
want to make sure we got our time grappler
Mhm.
info in.
Yeah.
I was trying to say it for our show,
Um,
but whatever.
Sorry.
You can have double Time Grappler appreciation.
Fine.
Yeah, you can't have too much time
There's no
grappler.
limit on Time
You
Grappler.
can never have too much
appreciation.
Time Grappler.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, what a great show. I'm sad I won't be able to stay up on Tuesday nights and watch it every week now.
I am very much
Like
like
why else was I in California other than stay up and watch Andor?
right.
So
You're gonna like move to Hawaii just so you can watch it at like 9 p.m. or whatever.
Maybe.
Or New Zealand. Don't they get it like a day early or
I
something?
have no idea.
I have
How
a
does
friend in New
time work?
Zealand. You should have him.
Time zones are I can barely keep track of the ones we have to worry about.
Okay. Yeah. The time grappler is awesome.
He knows the
More
time
of him.
zones probably.
I can't wait for Time Grappler, a Disney Plus show.
Maybe he'll get a comic spin-off.
Maybe he'll
Mm.
teach people how to time grapple.
And
That
they
could be
can
like
all
a
live
new
in towers. We just
activity.
covered this.
That could be a new activity in Galaxy's Edge, learning how to time grapple with the time grappler.
Right. And why don't they have a giant tower? Feel like I know the
To
answer.
work on that.
Okay. Yes, I very much enjoying time grappling. I need hammers to wake people up for school.
Bet you
Thankfully,
could build
that's
your
not
own
me.
little time grappler
Mhm.
setup.
Yeah, just like the Addams Family. It's like
Or like a little like grandfather clock.
dong.
Oh, they should make that.
Yeah.
Or like a little cuckoo clock, like a little one.
Then like when you
Instead
set
of a
your
big-
alarm, a little stormtrooper goes up and gets kicked out. That was the place for a Wilhelm, by the way.
Oh yeah, been doing. Miss the Wilhelm. R.I.P.
Oh, what about the what's his name? The other guy who's like who came with,
The homie?
you know who I'm talking about probably.
Yeah, the homie with cereal.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
why
then
did they
he's just
switch
like-
hats? That was
They
my.
didn't
That was
switch
the thing I
hats.
didn't understand.
He just gave him a
They-
hat.
I thought.
No, 'cause
Oh, I
they-
thought
he
they
had a
switched
hat,
hats.
too.
Yeah,
No.
I thought they were handing each other.
Cereal
hats.
has no hat, and he's like, "You need a hat. Take this one." And then he pulls out another hat and wears it.
Oh, I thought they were like switching hats. I was
No,
like,
they don't
what?
switch.
They
Oh,
do because
okay.
he
That
goes
makes more
here, and then cereal had one and went here.
No, Cereal doesn't have a hat, and then the other guy is like, "Here, take my hat." And then Cereal puts
They
the
don't
hat on.
speak.
Yeah.
Now
And
I'm
then the other
confused.
guy pulls the hat out and puts that hat on.
I don't think so.
Pretty sure.
I have Disney Plus right now.
Look it up. See if they. Yeah,
I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
he
they
was just kinda-
exchange hats.
Mosk was just kind of there. He was just kind of. He was like,
He got knocked out. Like he was
He
on
got
the
knocked
floor,
out.
coughing.
no, he showed up, got hit. Like,
Mhm. And then he just
He was
hangs out
there
on
for
Ferrix.
support.
Now he lives there, apparently.
oh yeah, he's just unfair. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Cyril was very like, gotta find Cassie, gotta kill Cassie, and then he saw Deidre. He's like, nope,
Yeah. He's like the
Just-
new Nurchi or whatever.
he's so weird. Yeah,
Everybody looking it up?
Cyril.
I'm here. I got it.
I
Okay.
really thought they switched hats.
Hold on.
I'm wrong.
The verdict. Okay. Cereal is holding a hat. The other guy is wearing a hat. He takes off his hat and hands it to Cereal. Cereal's looking at his hat. They exchange hats.
Really? I thought he gave him a hat and then pulled a hat out of
Why
his
did they exchange hats?
I don't know.
Why would they do that? They were like mine matches your fit better. Like we gotta fit check each other. Why would you
Maybe it
exchange?
was.
Okay, yeah. Cyril is holding a hat.
Why did they do that?
He wasn't wearing a hat, so I thought he just gave him a hat.
He was holding it. He was
Yeah, but he was holding
Why
it.
did they-
Okay.
I can't.
Why did they do that? That was
Well, I think
that's
they were
my one
completing
thing
their
I
little
don't-
disguises. Did you see their like Ferrix 2.0
But
costumes?
they both already had hats. Why switch?
Right. But the one fit the other one better. Like Cyril wasn't wearing his because he was like, it doesn't fit my character. And then he was like, here, take this one. +2 to like initiative.
God.
And he was like, okay. here,
I
take it."
love the absolute fear that they showed in Deidre, like after she got like rescued by Cereal.
Oh, she
She was shaking. Like
shaking.
it was
that
Yeah,
was
like
I'm
I would also
very-
be like that, but
I
yeah.
haven't
very
seen that good a
interested.
reaction since like they left us, they left us, they left us, he left us in Jurassic Park.
I just
Jurassic
I'm
Park.
so curious on what that dynamic is going to be like going forward because I think it's going to be really toxic and messy. And I
Yeah,
look
I
forward to
hated
seeing
it,
what that
but
looks like.
now I'm also like, I'm like, you know what? Just like I said for Serial and his mom, like they deserve each other. Like fuck it, they deserve each other too.
I'm like,
Yes,
yeah, like I
they
don't
can
like I'm
spend
not like, oh,
Thanksgiving
like
together.
I'm not like, oh, like I ship it like they're so cute, but like I'm just interested in like these are like two kind of horrible people. Like this is a terrible dynamic. I'm just curious. Like how's that gonna go?
Yeah. It's I at first because when it was going down and Serial was watching, because somehow for some reason Serial was like, yeah, if I go past this stormtrooper, it'll be fine. And then Stormtrooper just like shoved him backwards. But he was watching Deidre, and like my head then was not my head because I was yelling because now my roommates are gone, so now I can do that when I watch things. But I was like, leave her alone, don't you touch her, leave her alone, she's doing her job. Because again, I had that thought that he was going to ruin something, and technically he didn't, but but still I was like, stay away, don't look at her, don't do anything weird. Yeah,
Like,
but
she's
she
here.
was shaking and he was looking at her funny, and I thought they were gonna kiss, and I was like, no,
Mhm.
please don't. Thankfully they didn't, but
Mhm.
again, yeah, I'm really interested to see like what their whole thing is gonna be.
It's gonna
But
be a disaster.
yeah.
We're gonna make
As well it
Anakin
should.
and Padme look good. I'm
But yeah.
Damn.
excited. I'm excited.
Steele
I'm
was worried
very
about
looking
getting
forward to that.
roasted. That was the one.
I'm
Speaking of
very
roasted,
excited for the drama.
Boom, roasted.
I just finished our clickbait.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. I'll put it in the notes. But yeah, I loved her acting. It's very good. It's
Yeah,
just
everyone's
as good as like
acting.
just Bix's and
Oh yeah. The terrible people are really good at acting.
I feel
Everybody
like
in this
everyone's
show.
acting is so. I feel like, and think even like don't think Diego Luna gets enough credit because Caspian's a bit more of an understated person than like a Luthen or a Deidre. But like everyone's acting is so fantastic. Like you're really like pulled into that character.
yeah,
It's
I
so,
especially liked Brasso and
you know,
Cassian's
Luthen-
acting together.
yes, everyone was fantastic. Oh, also Cinta stabbing that dude,
Oh yeah.
amazing. That was sick.
Killed.
One spy looked at the other, like one imposter looked at the other imposter, like, and then she
And I was
stabs
talking about
him.
that last
Yeah.
episode. I was like, oh, like he's just talking to the other, like the two spies are talking to each other. How funny. Well, I like that she
Yeah.
like totally like knew that he was a spy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he's like kind of onto her, and he's like, "Hey, like, come on, like, what are you doing here?" And she's just like, she doesn't even say anything. She's just like, "Oh, nope,
Stab.
problem solved."
I mean, yeah, pretty much. And then she closed the door.
Yeah, she's like, "Hey, someone will find
She
you."
locked
maybe."
electrical.
Nobody will find you right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
that was good.
I really liked, I know we were gonna wrap up like a while ago, but anyway.
Were we?
I don't know.
I
But
wasn't.
We
I
do podcast
liked
work.
seeing Vel and Cinta because again, they just need time together. They just like with all this happening, Cinta's so focused on the mission, which makes sense, not blaming her for that at all. But Vel wants to spend time with her, wants to like connect with her, but it doesn't seem like, but I guess it's sad to see that because like they're both busy, they're both working, and it's sad.
It's a very the dynamic reminds me of Kanan and Hera in a way. I think Kanan and Hera had a bit more of a balance. But like Val or Cinta's like very dedicated to the mission, and like Val also believes in it and is dedicated to it, but she also is like, you
Yeah.
know, recognizing like, hey, like we also like if we're not taking care of ourselves, like there's not going to be ourselves left to give to the rebellion. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
So I love that dynamic, and I'm very excited to see more of them in season 2. In what way they're gonna go, like I hope to see next season more of the like Saw rebellion and the Mothma rebellion and like that divide. Because that's always something I think is really cool, and I think this show could do very well. So I'm excited. So much potential for season 2. I feel like everyone keeps being like, "Oh, Ahsoka could be in it, and Hera could be in it, and like this person could be in it." I'm like, okay, but like these characters could be in it too, and they're pretty cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to see that.
I like the idea that like maybe he does like fall in with Saw's crew for a while.
Mm.
Because like when the split happens, presumably, like he's in a Rogue One, he's like, some of us have done things. So like I like the idea that like if something happened where the like Mon Mothma decided and Bale, they all decided that Saw is too much and split from him. But like when that happened, presumably the followers, the Rebel Alliance members had to decide who to go with. And clearly General Draven's in with like Mon Mothma and Bale, but he's also like, hey, if you get a chance, just shoot this fool in the head. Because don't even trip about it. All right, anyway, bye. So
I
like,
think, yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I think I could also almost see maybe like we get like Luthen kind of having his own rebel faction, and then maybe something happens to Luthen and it kind of dissolves, and then people in that faction have to decide,
Mhm.
do they go with Saw or do they go with Mothma, you know? I think we could see
I like
so
the
many
idea,
ways.
yeah, I've seen a little bit of that divide like actually happen because we see like before and after. And I even like I
Yeah.
really like the episodes with like the rebels fighting with Saw, you know,
Yeah.
where it's a little more like one-sided, how they're sort of seeing like, hey dude, like this is not the, and it's like Mon Mothma and Saw fighting, but there's like such good speeches in that, like,
There's so many.
you know,
And I think,
yeah.
like you mentioned Draven, that's also something I'd be interested in looking at, is like you have the rebellion leaders like Mothma, and even I think Hera leans more bit more Mothma, where they, you know, they're fighting, but they also like they're doing everything to not do civilians and like they're doing it like the right way. And I kind of interested in seeing like how you have people like Draven who are kind of like maybe under their noses a little bit, being like,
Yeah.
hey, just do the torture thing, you know,
Like doing the Saw
when like
things right
yeah,
there.
when like with Mothma, and then you have
Yeah.
like, well, Mothma's like benefiting from that, and she doesn't really
Right.
know it, and like
They're not quite detonating flechette grenades in rooms full of civilians, but they are like, just shoot this fool in the face if you see him.
Mhm.
Okay, anyway, thanks, bye.
because we have like an aftermath,
Smiley
we have like
emoji.
Sinji are like torturing people, you know, for like
Right,
stuff
right.
they're doing, you know, and like that kind of thing.
And he becomes an advisor. But like, like that's part of the compromise too. Like, and like Mothma's, even as like, I don't want to say like straight arrow, but like whatever you want to call her, her idealism, she is a person that realizes, like her and Bale both realize that like in Rogue One, they're the ones that are like, this is going to turn into a fight. Like they're not ready for it, but it's going to happen. Find your
And
Jedi friend.
even Mothma was like as soon as people started going, she's like, all right, everyone go. Like it was more just like, I can't do it without everyone's support. But then as soon as
Yeah.
people started breaking, she was like, all right, I'm with you. Like that's the other thing
Yeah.
about Mothma, is she like, where Luthen I think would stand on his own and like be just him doing rebel stuff. I don't know if Mothma would. I don't think she would like back down, but
Mhm.
I also don't think she'd be the one standing in the fight by herself, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Like Saul would. So it's a curious thing to explore. So much. I'm so excited for season 2. I can't wait.
Yes.
Yes. And all in agreement? Say
Yeah.
aye.
Hi.
Awesome. I made the clickbait.
I saw it.
Amazing. Is
Do
it
you
on the
love it?
notes? Oh yes. Amazing. I love it.
Do you like the circles?
I do. The circles add everything.
Thank you.
What's on his shoulder? You never know. Well, I think that's a podcast, unless we have more to say.
I do,
Maybe.
but you can check it out on the Rogue Rebels podcast.
Well, that's a great segue. We can do the plugs. So there's StarWarsGeek.com. There's quizzes, blog articles, book reviews, polls, things like that. Twitter,
Did Steele
Instagram,
plug his?
and Hive at SW Girl. No, that he did not. Someone will have to do that. And also the Facebook page is Star Wars Geek Girl. Yes, we're on Hive. We're still on Twitter. We're also on Hive because things.
Just in case it dies or doesn't die.
Mhm.
See.
If you haven't seen Glass Onion, it's extremely topical for no reason. I will mention. Very good movie. Go watch it.
Dad, do you want to do the Rogue Rebels plugs or the Steele Wars plugs?
I don't know the Steele Wars plugs.
Go ahead and do the Rogue Rebels plugs then. I'll do Steele's.
You can check us out at theroguerebels.com. Go check out our podcast where we talk about all kinds of things like this episode in the future soon. And probably finishing up High Republic Phase 1 before we dive into Phase 2, which is getting crazy right now, even though it just started. And comics and books and video games, although I think we're all caught up on video games for now. But we talk lots of things, and we have playlists that sort all of our episodes into things you like. So if you're like, I want to get ready for Bad Batch Season 2 coming in a mere 40 days, I have a playlist for you that includes Bad Batch Season 1. You should check it out, and you will be ready, and it'll be fun. Also, put Quinlan Voss in Bad Batch, you cowards. We are on Twitter at Rogue Rebels Fam, even though it's on fire, but you can check us out everywhere else at The Rogue Rebels on Instagram, TikTok, and Hive. Hey, I do polls there sometimes, and they do way better than my Spotify polls, so you should check them out. Did you know that Perrin won the vote with 54% of getting punched? It was great.
54%.
I loved it. It was Perrin
Amazing.
or what was the other dude's name? Serial.
Cereal.
Yeah. Good times. I guess that's it.
For Steele Wars, there's steelewars.com, Twitter and Instagram at Steele Wars, YouTube, Steele Wars podcast, I think wherever you listen to Star Wars Geek Girl and Rogue Rebels, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Facebook, Steele Wars, Star Wars podcast, and Patreon, Steele Wars. No space.
You're so great for knowing all that right off the top of your head.
Yeah, I'm a
Incredible.
big fan. The biggest.
Yes. Thank you for listening. Thank you again, Steele, for talking talking Andor with us. Thank you, Sal, for joining us after your long day at
Boom.
work.
Roasted.
Thank you, everyone, so much for listening. I was Zoe.
I was Lizzy.
I was Sal.
And Steele was Steele. May the force be with you, and goodbye.
Goodbye.